Hello, welcome to the next edition of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. Uh, Today it is very tempting to tell what I really think about my synagogue experience, but I'll do that a different day. Better today to make a few comments about immersing myself in people, something that I've been neglecting doing, um, using the pandemic as the rationalization, though probably not the best rationalization. Some of it is me. Like many, uh, there is a sense of having been languishing with a hope of flourishing. Last week, I picked a day to get out, just one day. I started by volunteering for an organization, expecting people to drift in and out. I didn't quite know what the organization really expected of me, but it doesn't matter because people really didn't drift in and out. Instead, I got to be with two other volunteers, one also pretty new at it, and one organizational staff member. Since we didn't have a whole lot to do, we kind of chatted about the organization, about some of our experiences, about the pandemic. But in short, uh, I exchanged ideas with other people in person. Ideas can be exchanged with other people in a more toxic way, like Facebook or Twitter, but I've largely abandoned those. Here it was more immediately interactive. He said something, I said something, she said something, I said something. And I must say, I kind of enjoyed it. I went home, had some lunch, and had another appointment at the blood bank. I'm a regular platelet donor, have been for decades, but sidelined for anemia. Not serious anemia, but enough to not meet the donor guidelines. So I got some lab work, treated the lab work, though there still needs a little professional medical care beyond that. But I thought it would be good enough to get back into the platelet donor roster. I made an online appointment for myself and drove to the collection center at the appointed time. This time I passed. Bantered with the technician who screened me for eligibility, then became the center of attention for a short while the collection technician started the IV lines and took the samples while I decided which episode of Queer Eye I wanted to watch on Netflix for the next 2 hours. Unfortunately, the afferent IV line, I used two different IV lines to collect platelets, though some people only use one. This time the afferent line failed. They tried to reposition it but couldn't. So I became the center of attention again. Um, Under blood bank rules, they only get one chance to puncture. So if the line fails, the donation is aborted, and I was sent home. But also invited to the canteen where I had a soda and some cookies served by one of their volunteers. And then I went home. Well, cars being what they are, I can now safely use my cell phone in my car. It projects onto the dashboard. I only need one finger to use it. I had been trying to contact one of my cousins who lives in Florida since I'm going to be going to Florida. I had left a message for him either earlier in the day or the day before, and he called me back, so I returned his call via cell phone while driving. We talked about platelet donations, about his doctors, because he's been getting a little medical care as well. And not until the end did we get to my visit in Florida. Well, why am I going to Florida? I've not been to my father's gravesite since the week of the funeral. It's now going on 12 years, 13 years. So I think I ought to um, pay my respects again. And while I'm there, I know people who have moved to Florida who I haven't seen in a while. I could see them again too. What that day demonstrated is that I have to be a little bit more active about keeping up some of these connections. Live is best, telephone is second best, text messaging, no. That when you connect, it needs to be where there can be some give and take, some real time, immediate feedback, not waiting for somebody to respond. Now, it's certainly better than in the 19th century, where you would send a letter to someone and 2 months later get a response to the letter, or even in the 1970s when we had telephones but the calls were expensive. So I would send my girlfriend a letter each week and she would send me a letter each week. But with the various advances in communication, it has created an expectation of needing something faster than that, but also needing something for which a response is not only expected, but it is part of the exchange. So that's my thoughts for this week. Please leave comments. Please like the channel. And we'll post a different topic, maybe talk about the synagogue or something else next time. Bye bye.